it's like, I don't need that. Where did you come up with that idea? So today, we're going to look at training needs analysis, how we find out what our learners really want to find out about. Training needs analysis is one way of collecting information so that we can then give the learners the lessons and the skills that they really have come for. Training needs analysis will help us identify the knowledge gaps and also what people are actually wanting in their learning. Why do we do that? I think I pretty well explained it. We want to give the learners what they want to learn. So let's find out. So there are several different methods of finding the training needs analysis, and I'm going to be running through them in this little session. I think I've got 5 to 7 minutes, and I'll look for questions. I actually might even throw it out to the floor throughout. So one of the first ways is to find out what our learners need, is to find out where they're at, and we can do that with a test. We all remember tests from school. Those horrible quizzes that you had to cram for and study, but it was a really great way of the teacher knowing where everybody was. It was a great way of knowing what the learners and students knew and where the gaps were. Also, as students or learners, you could see where you were, what you know, what you don't know, and where you are in comparison with everybody else. So therein lies one of the limitations of tests. The nerves and the panic, for example, can often give a result that's not reflective of where the learner really is. It can also be quite time consuming to collect them all and make sure and check it all off and correlate it all. So tests are a great way to find out what's right now, what's missing, but they also have some limitations, and a lot of it's to do with nerves. If the learner is a little resistant to wanting to do the test, that can influence the outcome of the test as well. So tests are one way of finding out what training needs are required by the learners. So let's have an example of a test, how that can help with learners. Please feel free to share if you've got an idea of.
It mustn't be multiple choice.
That's a test too, isn't it?
You're saying it mustn't be or it mustn't?
It mustn't be.
It should not. It should not be.
Because 50% of the answers can be guessed right.
Okay, so the test then would be something with one right answer.
Yeah, a blank, filling the blanks would be great, but multiple choice.
Okay, I saw you shake your head.
I was having a test that only has one right answer is probably not a great way of assessing someone's ability at the start. You want to see how they came to that conclusion. If there's 15 different answers, but the working out is right up until a point, you get to identify where is that fault.
So there's another limitation to using a test to assess the needs, training needs. Yes.
You use different types of tests, like multiple choice questions for things that are black and white, like instructions on how to, the procedure to open up a baking machine or something like that. So the more mechanical it is, the more simpler and more structured it can be.
And we'll get to that with a couple of other training
And then
methodologies.
the more complex stuff, you look for written answers.
And obviously it makes the correlation of it all a little bit more involved.
I'm not very clear. We're talking about testing as in asking what they know, as in what they need to know, or we actually testing their knowledge. Like, can you give me what are we thinking? I'm confused. What are we testing?
What you know.
We're testing what do our learners want to know.
But that's different from what they.
I've got 5 minutes.
Oh. That's all right. So
Okay.
So a little bit of confusion around this.
I don't know what we're
So what we're doing is, what I'm sharing today is different methodologies for collecting information to know what our learners' needs are. And the test can be one of those.
It's any kind of test.
Okay.
Cool.
The next one is existing data. Existing data is pulling together all sorts of information into some sort of correlation and then seeing what the trends are, where people are, what they already know, what they're wanting to know. So to be able to then just pull out all that data and put it into some sort of format. It is a quick way of checking, okay, this many know this information, this many aren't sure on that. And then that's a really great way of pulling it all together. One of the benefits of using existing data is you can go quietly. You don't need to talk to people, but that also can be one of the limitations. So existing data is one of those ways of finding out where people are at and what they may need for their training. Interviews are another one. And that's a conversation between two people, often with a focus on asking a set of questions that will help determine the degree of knowledge and the wants of the learners group. So they are relatively inexpensive to do, but they are quite time consuming, and you have to be clear on your questions as well, otherwise you're not really going to be able to assess what learners are needing.
Interviews can be negative though, because sometimes they don't know you well enough to give you the answers to what they would like to learn because they're feeling.
So you have to build that rapport, don't you, in that conversation with them.
Maybe you've got to give them a list of options they can pick from.
So interviews, exactly, another one of those drawbacks that you've got. Focus groups is getting a whole group of people responding to either your questions or your interview or your existing data. Focus groups can give a wide range of answers, great for brainstorming, but also can sometimes turn into a bit of a gripe session, and I've been in a couple of those where it's really not helpful. So it's about then keeping the group on track when you're trying to find out what they need. Oral surveys, a little bit similar to an interview, but you're using a list of questions, and I'm sure you've had those things where people stop you in the middle of the street and ask you a few questions. Obviously, you can do that with the learner group that you're going to do training and have some specific questions. Observation. Observation is another one. You can watch where your learners are at. You can observe them doing the behaviours. This has the limitation of actually, you have to know what they're looking at. If you're observing a specific process that somebody needs to do, you have to know what to be looking for. So you have to be in a bit of a space of knowledge and understanding what you're observing so that you can assess what your learners are at and therefore what they need in their training. Questions are another one. Questionnaires, again, you can sort of mix and match all of these things. It's a list of questions where it's often a yes or a no, or choice of 4 different types of things. They're closed questions, so it's usually either one or the other, or it's and it's easy to obviously tally them all up when you've got them all in. So that's a questionnaire that may be something like impact, for example. So when you're looking at different methods of assessing the training needs that the learners are, I've just listed them. Perhaps a little more time would have allowed us to discuss it a bit more, but I've gone quickly.
You've still got your question and answer time.
Have I? A couple of days. So, all right, so I'll just run through the list. We did interviews, we did existing data, we did tests, focus groups, oral surveys, observation and questionnaires. That's probably about 8 different things, different ways that you can collect your information to see what your in the group needs. So, some questions. So I have a couple of minutes for questions. When would you choose one over the other?
Depends on the circumstances.
Talk about that a little more.
Well, when we talk about observation, it might be in an office situation or a factory or somewhere where you go in and observe the procedure and what people are doing. And if it's say an OH&S type training that you're going to do, you could actually observe what they're doing and maybe where they're going wrong, and then target your training to that particular need. So just an example.
The first thing you said was the circumstances will be different. So you need to go in and have a look first and then decide what would work best.
Yeah, it's not much good putting a survey out because they might know where they're going wrong.
Exactly. Good question. Anybody else?
It's the example you were giving at the beginning about
Yes.
it's almost like marketing. What do a learner? That's one option. Is what do say the general public want to know in self-development, influence there. And that's a broad field, but it's a big open-ended thing. So that's very different from working in an organisation where people are working on a production line and, what do they need to learn or that sort of stuff. So that's a great variety, but all those techniques will apply throughout both cases.
And any of them can apply, and the options are there for you to choose the most effective given the group. Because some don't have time to do face-to-face, and use technology, there are a lot of...
Some years ago, I worked in a training centre and we first started with an open-ended, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Take it through all this information, and there's all different formats and different levels of detail. And so we collated it and then put it back as a questionnaire because a lot of people hadn't thought about this from...
So you're using two different methodologies to then get what you actually need to find out.
A long process too.
Yeah. I need to wrap up now, so we're actually going to be doing an exercise in a few minutes. We'll get to try out some of the ideas and have some discussions between them. The exercise will be based around using different training needs methodology. There's a list. I do have a handout for you to refresh your memory and to refer to as we go through the activities. Thank you very much.
Are you setting up the activity, Christine?
Are you
Getting everyone into groups and stuff?
yeah, that'll be part of it.
Yep. Okay.
So I don't know whether the
You could go straight into it.
oh, could I?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Your names all over.
I've got nothing to contribute, so I just do
that's
that.
the next bit we're talking about.
Yeah. That's okay.
So, I don't know what to say. All right, so how are we going to do this? May I continue?
Yeah.
So to get an idea of,
Yeah.
to get an idea of putting those different methods into practice, what we're going to do is fall into three groups, and we're going to look at how to design a training needs analysis for three different groups. We're using a fairly real example for this. We are all Toastmasters, and our program quality director, Peter Crosby, is looking for finding ways of identifying what Toastmasters needs throughout the training year. Okay? So he's looking at three different areas, and these will be your three different teams. One will be the club leadership training. So that's all the executive of each of the clubs in the area. So what you'll need to do is imagine that you've got these people in front of you and design a training analysis so that you can find out what members at that level are looking for in their training, what skill gaps have to be filled and how they would best like to learn. Okay, so there's the club leadership team. The next group is the District Executive Committee. So this is the group of the hierarchy, if I may put that word, of Toastmasters. They're your area directors, your staff officers, all of that kind of team. This is different. So these are going to be people with different needs, different skill sets, and different obviously training that they will need to fulfil their role. So that will be the district, I don't know which one instead of
Executive.
the district executive.
Yeah.
So that's actually, okay, that's like the staff, isn't it? That's
It's the staff officers, area directors, and all of the division,
Right.
division.
So it's actually one level down from the actual district management team.
That's right.
Which is the big team.
That includes them.
That includes them, yes.
Yeah.
So they're the division directors, and Peter's role as program quality director, for example. They're lost with the terminology.
Yeah.
I missed the distinction between the groups.
Okay, thank you. So group one is your club leaders.
Okay.
Group two is your policy team, so all your area directors, all of the support team that helps. Yeah, and the third one is the high team of the executive of Toastmasters, district directors, division directors, and the ones who are every formatting. So does that, they're the
So,
management, they're the
yeah, the district
management.
management team.
Yeah,
DMT.
they're the management.
So CLT, DEC, DMT.
All those acronyms, but they're the levels.
Training.
Or if
Yeah.
you want to go, if you want to look at it differently, the club is the lower level and the management team is higher ups and the executive are the bit in the between. I think I've not explained that very well. So let's go into the three groups. Adrian, question.
I haven't got any experience as a, club board director, as a program quality director.
So you're only designing the training needs analysis. So you're looking at what type of questions those people are likely to,
Or what type of method?
That's the process.
Yes.
that's
Both.
the process of this exercise.
What
It's the
method
job-
would we
the
use?
job
What
description.
questions would we
You
ask?
don't need to
I know
know
statement
exactly
they
what they do, to ask them.
Sorry?
I know a statement they
Yeah.
said, but I don't have a question.
The job is to find out.
Yeah, but that's the
That's
thing.
the point, yeah.
That's why
Can
you're
you
getting the
reframe that
practice.
statement into a question?
No, it's like, oh, holy.
English.
Okay, along with that.
So you want to play along? Yeah, which team do you want to be in?
Good training.
Which team would you like to be on? Club leadership.
Something else I contribute to.
Adrian will be part of the club leadership team. So who would like to join Adrian? Who would like to be part of the executive committee training needs analysis?
So area directors, etc. Go Ross.
And so, but someone else who still needs to be be part of district management team.
And the rest, you almost
And the rest?
No,
No idea.
not even close.
So,
I know that people would use them.
so in a minute, go in groups and have a look at brainstorm, talk, discuss the different ideas. I've got some questions there for you you might like to consider. What education do these leaders need and want? What form would they like it to take? What content would they like to see? And anything else you think might be relevant to finding out what your group needs for training.
How long would you like?
15 minutes. So we'll spend 15 minutes and then I'll call everybody back and get one member to come up with what.
Oh, I know, let me go.
We can go. All right. John, do you want to join in or
No,
help you? We have a resistant learner.
Hey, Sean, can we get you in DMT?
Challenge.
Don't have to be around you. Could you please pretend that you're on the district management team?
Our brief is to design 3 TNAs, training needs analysis, on the program quality and portfolio.
Chris, are you going to join us?
Or the area director staff officers.
You don't.
So it's area directors, us. Yeah, that's right. No,
No, we're doing this.
we're going from the area director,
We're doing the middle one.
yes, area director, yes, which is area director, up.
Yes.
The DMT is doing that up.
Yeah.
So we're going all the way up. Cool.
4, 3, 2.
We're mainly.
So we've got 15 minutes. So brainstorming might be
Well, that's where it's focused.
I mean. Most of us don't go.
All right, I'll finish reading this then. Specifically, our receptive training and analysis need to focus on what education these leaders need what form they like it to take, and what content they like to see. It's all about that.
So we're deciding.
Need and want, the form and the content.
To provide learning skills.
Other relevant questions specific to target group?
Okay, so here's what you're saying.
What question?
have access to
Which has been
all of
finished,
these
paid for.
executive in
And
one
talks
spot,
about different
one
lines.
time.
And how, like, say, look, this question, but I think with this, what's the question, and how
So what's
this.
this?
So that's tells us how, like, we're going to test.
Let's
give a
this
test.
Okay.
Are we gonna, yes, this is that, should we get into it? Hello, Mr. Executive, what do you want? Focus group, we're gonna get together. Oral survey?
I don't think
Tim, sorry, Ross.
that's,
Observation?
I think we've got to
Fine.
do it.
What's the email, telephone call, observe,
I don't think club.
and if they do yeah, based on previous.
That doesn't actually.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, but it is, it's done someone's head, why I think it should be, you know, that's usually all the time. If you say, here, produce me the data, then here's the data. If you say, that's the program, that's the program, that's not any kind of data that says, oh, so-and-so failed. So data would be, data would be, how many people got their club, their area directors, contest budget in or correct. Do you know what I mean? That's data.
Because
I'm
it's
saying
already
last year,
Yeah.
I'm saying data from last year. Did someone have the figures for how many people got their area contest right the first time as an area contest budget, as an example? Right? If they got the data, then they're using the existing data to get other data like that.
From the year before.
So in terms of
But another thing.
finding out,
Yeah.
in terms of finding out what is the program
Yeah.
you can't tell me which of these are
That's what we're trying to say. What's the best way that they can do one or how?
Both.
I know, but I just want to clarify, if they've been told already what to do, I know, but if we've just been told that they've given stuff to do already, and we just focus on the how, we just want to clarify, we're doing what and how.
So if you do the training needs analysis, you know what, and already know what gaps that need to be.
Internal feedback.
So focus on content and, yes. That's kind of the best way of.
Yeah, correct. What do they need and want?
Collaborative feedback or feedback.
I think all the existing data, you've got a lot of knowledge with the data methods.
Lend themselves to face-to-face and others lend themselves to maybe some.
So how many people in this category? Tell me about the program you're talking about.
Set down one to the items we can change.
Forty something?
Oh,
So it's a lot. So what I'm saying is you're not going to buy.
Alright, great. So then I think you'll bring that.
Statistically relevant.
Which is what, yeah, like 30, we're going to do 30. So let's not change, it might not be realistic, because it's numbers like 16 plus people.
So you need those areas
Oral survey. Questionnaire.
You do a questionnaire.
Questionnaire and test you could send to everyone because you do it once. Send it out and then get the feedback.
The questionnaire is another thing. From the year before, because they give everybody a sheet. Yeah, questionnaire type sheet to say, how it go. What else can we get? What else can we do?
because some of the conditions are actually wrong.
Can I give you just an example with it?
It's always done that way.
For example, the previous year, they would have records of who they hired out in the area. So they did a budget and they submitted it, sorry. They submitted a budget, it got approved, and then hit or missed the mark. So that, if they had, for example, 50% of the area contest had to be bailed out by the district, because when you submit it, that's a guarantee that they'll cover you if the club makes the budget. So but they approve it or they throw it back to challenge, but if you had, say, like 50% lose money, then you go, gee, that's an area for training, either to improve the marketing of the thing or fix up the numbers or whatever, there's this lot of things. But that's an example of data that shows that there's a need or not. Because every data isn't necessarily say, oh, there's a need. But there's probably other stuff that they've got in the finance side.
So if you're going to design a questionnaire, email to all these people in this group, what questions?
Well, that's not a questionnaire, that's an existing data.
Yeah, I know.
Questionnaires are being
But we're doing training and brainstorming.
And that's your guess, part of training. All of these.
I mean, definitely opening information on our systems conduct or have.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Because we're not going to choose.
Is that the question we do?
So that's
Training.
How to run an area or division context, and that will include budgets.
And people have done it for years and then just looking for the
And so the assumption is everyone's.
you could get people to identify what they're having challenges for.
Some people repeat.
Most people are having.
Yeah. Show them what responsibility
Yeah.
are and say what
And like that, division is done here, being an area director, but it's.
That's not what I'm saying.
It's getting on this and what
We're talking about gathering information.
They have different
What club
things
things
to
to
have.
train them before. So my suggestion is that as an area director.
That's the ability of people
people
that come in all these roles. So if you give them a spreadsheet to do an area contest, some people now give them the Pixar spreadsheet.
doing the training piece now.
So some people, other people can design the spreadsheet or accountants and whatever, and you say, no, that's rubbish, I'll do it on my QuickBooks or something.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem with this, but anyway, we've still got
That's
to,
the biggest problem.
that's part of training design.
That's the biggest problem with all training.
Oh,
So that's training design. It's like training public.
Yeah.
But everybody.
And that's right.
We've got a couple of things, like 20 minutes left. And share
We've got
best
one example, that's
Come on, who?
So we do the question.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should do printed questionnaire, but.
just pick one here. Because it's too broad. Like, I use that as one example. Questionnaire on roles.
No, on what do they want? That's the first question. What do you want?
So you're gonna say, what do you want?
No, that's something, that's what you are, we're doing it in box, why not have a couple at the end, and you're training for the training, Yeah. No, this I haven't finished. Are we gonna have, yes, critique, what I want?
There you go. Question one is you have all the roles, parts of
Level
the.
10, whatever, since 1 to 10, you can order of preference or the critique, this many.
And then you have a three form, multi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
These will be simple, because if
One
we have
team.
a meeting or a training session, then we can't be analysing too much data.
There's a questionnaire you go through.
Oh, yeah, that's right, you can send that.
So what do you mean, the critique or order of preference?
Yeah.
It's not a question. How do you want it?
Do one of those survey ones.
Well, I like that. Give me
So
another
survey
list.
monkey? Like survey monkey?
Says,
How, do you prefer to
I
have?
did that for.
Have you already learned what we're saying, and we're going to give a couple options as well?
Oh, delivery performance. Yeah, one of the things you do it online, you do it in outer space.
Face to face, one online.
We decide who's going, represents a great group.
That's the show, man.
We get you all to come back to one of the front and I'll get ready. Pick somebody who's going to. What you got? So who's our district management team?
That was John and Michael.
You guys had a great little post-it notes and all different ideas that come through, and so who's speaking for you? Kathleen, how did you find your understanding of the different methodologies? Excuse me? How did you find the different methodologies and what did you ultimately go with and why?
The methodologies, we started there, then we went into content, and then we circled back to methodologies. Okay. So we jumped around a fair bit. It was a lot of brainstorming. And what we ended up with was a whole bunch of ideas about content, but we thought that a good way to go might be to map out the district management team roles and their responsibilities and get them to identify what their strengths and weaknesses are, etc. Why, like, what you're afraid of, how do you think you go about doing this or that, and mix that with some of that being one-on-one and some of that being as a group, because people respond differently, whether it's personal or speaking out in front of others.
You've actually got a variety of methods delivered in different ways as well. So that will attract the different needs and the people that can answer those questions.
Yeah, and we also need to be careful of, as John said, having opportunities for them to express how they think they'll go, not just giving them how they should be doing things, because we want to make it easy for them and safe.
I think that's the big thing about training needs analysis, is
Yeah.
to make them feel safe and that they'll get something out of it that they're going to be learning in the training.
Yeah.
Several methods of.
Well, we kind of cheated because we have past district governor in our team.
So the exercise was to also
Capture his knowledge.
which of the methodologies you can use to basically analyse the needs. Great, great. Who's speaking from the club leadership team?
I am speaking to Christine. Welcome to everyone. We looked at 3 areas. Firstly, we thought it was important to look at the existing data, because I believe every single club leadership training is a feedback form at the end, so to really rely on that pre-collected data. Yeah. So also we felt that prior to the club leadership training, the great way to get this information was via the area governance directors club visit, and really to get the sense of who's brand new in the role and who has experience, and then how can that experience also be utilised and then identify what they need from the next step
So
forward.
that's what ask them, interview them, and do a little
Yes.
survey,
And also, I guess just from a club leadership point of view, I've found in the past that because I've been within this wonderful organisation so long, there seems to be not a distinction, and I haven't been to CLT for a few years, new people and existing people, and how can we incorporate the knowledge of the people that have done the president's role for years, not necessarily concurrently, and getting them to kind of mentor and share that knowledge within the training session to the people that are brand new.
So you come up with feedback, interviewing, and finding out a way that you can mix the experience with the less experience to help everyone learn.
Yeah.
So how are you going to design, have you got, so what I'm hearing is you've got feedback form, you've probably got some questions to interview when you go into a meeting, and just, you'll also then be able to observe who are the experienced and who are not.
And I guess the executive team with the area director could be a focus group of sorts.
Great, so that's 4 different methodologies that can help you get clear on who the learners are and what they need and how those best learned in the club week. Thank you, thank you. And Oksana, I believe you're the spokesperson. I'm first. So you guys did the middle team, so tell us what we went. You've got a monkey. A monkey.
For visual learning. So we're doing our survey monkey. And you can ask the questionnaire because, you know, that's the best way we figured to ask them what they want. So we're going to design a questionnaire to say, what do you want? And ask you a couple ideas. Or they have a preference of what sort of will be number 1 priority, number 2. So we understand if there's a lot of training, we can identify what's the most important to have sort of training. And then you can ask them more questions, obviously, how do you prefer to learn, like delivery method, if they want one-on-one coaching, like just maybe someone who's more experienced can do a little workshop with someone who's less experienced or something like that, or if they want to learn online or small group or large group, how they want the training to deliver, perhaps a combination of all, so they can select that, and any other questions. Yeah, so the monkey, have you had another question? Anyway, we can ask all those questions and then we can get all this wonderful data and design wonderful training for all. So that monkey is the way to go.
You're going to use survey, you're going to use technology to get that information from the survey, and then you're going to collate it all.
Yes.
All existing.
Also, the monkey does most of it. It does
yes.
all of it.
Sorry.
Data
So
analysis.
the process is being automated.
Easy, click, done.
Incredible. So
Rather than a small.
Just an area of existing data. Obviously, there's last year's training feedback forms because the area directors have training incoming. There are other metrics that are kept by TI and districts. Some of them are completely visible to everyone, the DCP, all that sort of stuff. That can be a mine for information about where the deficiencies are, you know, where we need to pick up. But for example, a really specific one was last year we have area contest budgets, and what were the success of those budgets? How many contests had to be bailed out, like supported by the district? So obviously that contest budgeting might be an area for training.
So that it doesn't happen.
Unfortunately, we change each year, so last year's data might just mean that last year's training was no good versus we got new people this year, so that might have been really good last year. How's it going to go this year? It's not, you know, past performance, not necessarily an indication of the future.
So it's a bit of a guideline, if you can match up what happened in the past with what your survey monkey results are, that will also help round it out to some degree. What the training needs are. So any other comments, ahas that have come from doing the activity and also from sharing?
I didn't even think about the fact that one of the things that I can't remember which one of you guys said it, but one of the things we came up with is that you actually have to capture training needs analysis throughout when you're doing year-long training sessions.
Right.
So for our team, for district management, obviously they have 5 or 6 training sessions a year, face-to-face, and then there might be online training things as well. So part of it's mandatory, but some of it is flexible and you need to be responsive to the challenges that the team is having.
Oksana actually mentioned that as well.
Yeah, but it was such a light bulb for me because in the past, even going and doing training needs analysis, like you do it, it's done, there's the data.
So there's not a one right way either.
No.
It's a progression of where they
Sometimes you
are
have to
now
go back and ask them again and check and keep being flexible with it.
Right.
So that was just a big light bulb for me.
John, what's your hand up?
Well, I not a comment, but on the one up here, getting past people to come and mentor the incoming group. Just making an open invitation is usually not successful. It is better to individually ask someone, will you come along and do this for me?
Yes.
For me.
Yes.
I agree.
You have a much better chance of getting them than saying, we want all the past people to come along and help.
So is that a question that might be on the
I'm not
form? Would you be
involved.
willing to be the one up to help the less experienced? Is that like in one of the questions?
Try to get them to do specific jobs.
Okay, so that would be the next step, Adrian.
Long issue training, piece, a place where club leaders can have some of their ideas, some of their problems answered, because that would help.
So the concerns that might have been addressed and what you're worried about could be a little bit of an open forum for a question and answer time with colours, you know. Yep,
Yeah.
is that what I understood you to be saying? Yep. Okay. So that's an option that you could put on your questionnaire form to determine what the learners need. Thank you. So we've gone through several different of the methodologies that I explained earlier on, and it's interesting the debate that comes up and the pros and the cons, but this won't work here and that will. So does that help then with how to get training needs analysis up and running and designing it? So remember I started with this session by saying you can't just give people what you think they need. You need to be able to give them, deliver what they actually want. In a way that they're willing to learn it and understand it and receive it. So the exercise you've just done gave you practical experience of, oh, okay, that won't work for me, but this might. So next time you're doing the training needs analysis, you've got some idea of the different methods, whether you use your Survey Monkey or whatever method you use. It does take a little bit of forethought, planning, discussion, even amongst you as a focus group. All the different ways that can be brought together to find out exactly what the learners need and to then give them the training in the way that will help them to learn. Training needs analysis methodologies. If you have any ahas later on, Kathleen, is there some sort of forum that we can perhaps put it up or?
Yeah, but just come onto the Facebook page and just write your comments against today's meeting.
Okay. Learnings do keep happening afterwards. Kathleen had an aha after she'd done the project. And that's what happens. That's when you're like, oh, I never thought of that. And there it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, that completes the lesson today. Thank you. Great. Thank you, Christine. That's a wonderful topic. And I believe we have Adrian. Ready, Adrian? Who's going to do a session debrief. So please welcome. I'm trying to slow down because I think he's not ready. I'm going to do upstairs. You're coming. You ready? Got your tie in this is fine. Jim told me.
You made him self-conscious now.
Christine's objective in the first part was to tell us what she was going to do with the training needs analysis session that she conducted. And she got our attention by asking questions and involving the audience to do a discussion in 5 to 7 minutes. That was great, because normally you have discussion way beyond 7 minutes. So that was a good job. She asked relevant questions and told us the various methodologies. She then left the question and answer to the very end of her introduction. It would be better if she actually did the question and answers 1 minute before the end of her briefing, and then use that last minute to summarize exactly what was covered. That way, what is fresh in people's mind is a summary, and not the last question that was asked or answered. The breaking up into different groups. facilitate this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Not evaluated facility.
You want to talk for 20 minutes?
Yeah. It's okay, I wouldn't have let him.
Because we're gonna need a coffee.
All right.
Good stuff.
This is not evaluation, training is for design.
Right, then I need my, well, so you take
What
notes,
do you want? I can try it.
you can take notes,
I can try.
yeah, because then I can need to see.
I'm taking notes of
Just
the
give it to him.
Tell me guys, how you do.
Just ask.
It's the debrief that's most important. Let's just do
I'm taking notes.
let's just do the process.
All right. What did Christine do well?
Good start.
Yes.
I think Christine's got a beautiful smile and she's,
Yeah.
I think just, I don't know, I just like, I need to learn how to do that. I don't have to smile naturally when she does.
And I like it. Very nice.
There you go, next. Okay.
Can we have a little bit of depth here, guys?
I like the pattern.
We just
on
need
the dress.
We just
And the
need
colours.
kids. Okay, push that up to it.
All right, what about the open?
Which,
John, I'll leave it with you.
Tell me the principles you should have.
are you talking about the briefing side of it or what?
So one thing that I thought Christine did really well was she gave us the information verbally of the different training needs analysis methodologies up front, but then she followed that up with a one-page handout. So when we got into our groups, we had a reference point to go to that was fast and it was easy. So it made it easy to actually have a group discussion because it was right there on the page. So that was necessary and well done.
Yes, okay.
One of the other things I thought that Christine did really well is she, after the 3 groups had formed, she went to each group and checked that everybody was really clear about the task at hand. And for those that weren't, was able to steer them in the right track. Right on track, in fact.
Anyone else?
Too many nice stuff. This example's colour's too small.
That's, okay.
That's there.
Anything else?
It wasn't just steering us in the, I mean, at one point we'd been brainstorming and I think we were quite comfortable in our group sitting there and brainstorming, and she came over and she made us actually finish that part and move to a solution, which was, okay, take that and now put it into a training needs analysis methodology. So I think we probably needed that because we were quite comfortable. There were so many ideas that we had in our group. But it was nicely done. You know, we didn't feel.
Anyone else?
And so when you're delivering content and instruction, you're allowed to be more, I don't want to say brutal, more forceful and say, because like, I think it was your 5 to 7 at the beginning, it's quite a say, well, we'll come back to that and just cut a thing off and just keep playing forward, because that's your session to deliver the information. Like when we do concepts after we do connections.
Anyone else? John, Karen?
Yes, I think it went very well because everyone was starting to get an understanding or a feeling for what we were trying to achieve without necessarily telling people, this is what you must do. This was saying, these are all the ideas that you can put into a package that would suit the audience you're training. You know, I think it was a collective view of learning to do that in different contexts.
Yes.
Well, speaking of the 4 C's, the concepts, we did the concrete practice, we had that, but the debrief in the conclusion had an epiphany from one group to the other, like, you know, Kathleen mentioned, oh, we can consider that approach to this. So that's the idea of a debrief, is to spread more information and consolidate. Well done.
What could Christine have done better?
I maybe the shared whiteboard maybe would have helped just to write those 3 groups, because I think we all get a bit confused, and I think and it's easy to get confused.
It is so much jargon.
It's easier to
Not working.
do one
Oh,
group,
it's not
2
connected.
group, 3 group, so that you remember, and so if you forget, it's like get that all the time, you can turn back and you can read what you wrote.
Yeah, just some kind of
It's
visual.
only overhead,
Sorry?
you can actually project it on the screen.
Yeah, whiteboard,
Yeah.
projector, whatever, there's something for visual people.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So that's just on. Do you think that might have helped everybody?
No, what? Plan B.
It might have also helped if I was really clear on the 3 groups myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't explain that, because
Yeah.
I got confused.
That's all right.
You can bluff
I tried, did I get away with it?
I don't actually think it mattered, because once we got into our groups, we knew by then what we would do. So it didn't, I don't think it, it would have been helpful, but it wasn't a big deal. I didn't think.
But if Christine wasn't clear before she started, I think doing a session clarified it.
And district leaders get that terminology wrong, so,
Oh.
yeah. I think we can be forgiven.
I do it like what I like. I like how she did the briefing beforehand, explained to us all the different ideas, and then, gave us the practical side.
Then we have to think about it.
Yeah, and then we went, oh, is this what it all means? Okay.
I liked the summary at the end too. The way that you brought it back around to, we started here, and this is what we did with the information, and then this is where it's going.
Yeah, that's right. She did summarize at the end of the
The whole thing.
whole thing.
Mm.
But I take on board your point that in that first instruction, all of the points.
Anything else? Well, I hand it back over to you, Oksana.
Oh, you done?
Yeah, well, there's time on the agenda for folks.
This was actually one of the assignments for my certificate for training and assessment, so thank you. But I also need some feedback forms. So if you'd love to do that for me, that would be really helpful.
How many do you need? Like, do you need
There's a
only 4?
No, it's the old fashioned feedback, tick, tick, or cross, different options,